Alright, Uma Fight Camp. A day after I posted a video saying that we were backing off a little bit from doing YouTube videos, just slightly. And what I meant by that was, what I am going to do are do those things that are most important to our base. Alright? Things that are exciting, but most important to our base, which is that 15% of people that are interested maybe in sport, in martial arts, that are in sports, but from the perspective of what you can get out of them in the way of self-protection. Okay? So, at that, there was a question that was asked, and I think that even though this is a day after I spoke about pulling back a little bit from YouTube, from some of the videos we've been posting, and going in another direction, and having contact and providing material by other means, there is a question that came, a question/comment, and I need to address it because it's an honest comment and question, and I think that people would be interested in it and probably are thinking the same thing. And it goes like this. Pretty much what the gentleman said, and I'm paraphrasing, but I'm getting the meat of it and the emotion involved. He said, Saif, I became interested in your channel and introduced to your channel based on your boxing material. Things about what you said about boxing. He said he agreed with my views of boxing, and he agreed that boxing did for him what I had said it did for me, which essentially, if you don't remember what I said or you didn't see those videos where I credited boxing for taking me from bullying to being a fairly confident young man and grown man, okay? And he said that he's confused because he's getting the feeling that I'm saying now that I don't like boxing, okay? And that is honest. That some of you will say, well, you know, I know Saif didn't say that, but it is fairly honest for someone to think that way, all right? Considering the emotion that I have put forth when I talk about how I feel about the current condition of boxing, all right? What I mean is this, and better yet, let me tell you where I'm coming from and where I was coming from. All right? I am 5'7". At no time have I ever been, obviously, taller than 5'7". Or maybe not so obviously, but I think obviously, barring some extreme things that would make me shorter, right? Or taller. I've never been taller than 5'7". Okay? From the time I was born to the time I was about 16, 5'7" was the average height. After about 17, I was below the average height. Okay, so it quickly became that the average height was like 5'10". So since boxing for me was a means of learning to defend myself against people who quickly became bigger than I was, were bigger than I was, at least taller than I was, then at no time really was I afforded the opportunity to look at boxing as some kind of hobby. Boxing for me was a means of defending myself. When I became able to articulate how I saw boxing in somewhat intelligent language, all right, then I came to understand it as I understand it now and as I share it with you now, which is boxing to me is a martial art that uses as its tool. We're not talking about dirty boxing or pugilism. We're talking about boxing, the kind of boxing that many of you do in the gym, but obviously with the gloves off. I am saying that for me, boxing is a martial art, first and foremost, that uses as its tool for inflicting damage the fist, okay? With the goal being inflicting blunt force trauma upon the entire body, okay? Usually the torso, okay? From the torso up, blunt force trauma upon the body with the ultimate goal being shutting down the control center of the human body, the brain, better known as a knockout, okay? Again, my idea of boxing, and even before I was able to articulate what my idea of boxing was, it was my idea of boxing based on what boxing was meant to do for me and why I was taking into boxing in the first place. All right, by other older family members. Okay, and it is this: for me, boxing is a martial art in the truest sense, not a hobby. A martial. Look up martial. It is a martial art. The problem with many martial arts today, karate, jiu-jitsu, judo, boxing, Muay Thai, the martial has been taken out. For me, boxing is a martial art that uses as its tool the fist for the purpose of inflicting blunt force trauma, okay, from the torso up, with the ultimate goal, all right, and the ultimate achievement being shutting down the control center of the human body, which is the brain, better known as a knockout. Okay? So that's how I see boxing. So understand that no matter what style I am teaching, no matter whether it's the peekaboo or the Philly shell, I am talking about inflicting as much damage as possible by using the fist as possible in the shortest amount of time. There are people who have come to train with me in the Philly shell. There are people who have come to train with me in the Philly shell, and if you ask them, they will tell you that no matter what you want to do in the Philly shell, I tell you, this is how I teach the Philly shell. If you want to learn it in any other way, you can go somewhere else and learn it. The way I learn it, you will learn to knock people the F out. That is the main goal. That is the main goal I think any person should have when they throw a punch. All right? Is to knock that person out. To shut down the control center of the human body, the brain. That's it. When I talk about the way people look at boxing now, I'm saying that I have been discouraged by that, discouraged from continuing this great campaign of talking about sport boxing, all right, whether it interests me or not. I have backed up from that because the focus of boxing, that is sport boxing today, is not my focus of boxing. Now, is it not the focus of all boxers? No. Ask Mike Tyson what the focus is. Ask Mike Tyson, ask Gennady Golovkin what his focus is. Ask Manny Pacquiao. I mean, you know, it's a shame what happened with him. Maybe it's time for him to retire, but that's neither here nor there. Ask him what his focus at least was. All right? I mean, what was Joe Frazier's focus? What was George Foreman's focus? Even when Evander Holyfield couldn't get it done, there was rarely ever any question that his focus was to shut down the control center of the human body with his punch. Okay? At least to the head. So when I'm talking about boxing, what I am saying is, my idea of boxing is that when you use these, you should be using these to do damage to your opponent. Now, let me be clear on this. You might ask, Safe, every time you spar, it does not look like you're trying to knock the person out. No, there are times when you have to extract what you can from your grappling. Extract what you can from your boxing or your kickboxing, whatever you can extract. Even if it's just practicing taking punches, blocking punches, feeling the pressure on your arms. Extracting out of a sport situation what you could possibly use in a self-protection situation. There is something to be said about that, because sometimes you simply have to do it. You cannot approach every sparring session as it is a life or death situation. In fact, you cannot approach most of them like they are life and death situations. Why? Because there are things that you will do in a life or death situation that you certainly do not want to do to the person that's in front of you, who's your training partner. So yes, I do box many times, and you've seen me where I'm not trying to knock the person out, the person not trying to knock me out. I may not even be throwing a lot of punches, but it is always something I'm trying to extract from that situation, whether it's continuing my ability to take certain punches, to feel the pressure, to control my emotions, or just push myself through exhaustion. I am always trying to, or beyond exhaustion, I'm always trying to extract, even in a sports situation, something that will help me in self-protection or in a life or death situation. Okay? So my mindset is always, what can I get out of this that will enable me to defend myself and my loved ones better in the street? So that is a valid question. I love boxing. The approach to boxing today is something that has discouraged me from this constant campaign of talking about every major marquee fight that is coming up. Now, I mentioned that I will be sending out things, programs, information. We have about 10 services that we are offering to those people whose emails we have. All right? 10 services. I will tell you what those services are. I'm not going to mention them here on the on the video. What I am going to do is, I was trying to figure out what's the first thing I should send out free to everybody whose email I have. And what I'm going to do is, I'm going to send you out a video explaining a little more and demonstrating a little more of where boxing has changed, and look at some techniques and show you where boxing has changed. I'm not going to say too much, but trust me, once it is done, it will be done in 48 hours, and I will start to send them out to everyone whose email I have. It might be maybe a half hour long, all right? But it will be a video I'm going to just give you so you understand. I'm going to demonstrate a certain style, and you'll understand how that particular style is tweaked, all right, from the ring, and how I actually I teach when I'm teaching people how to use it in the street. All right. So if I have your email, you can look for that video in the next maybe 3 days. It will take me a while to send it out to all of the emails. Okay. But it's free of charge. It may be like a half hour long, and I just don't want to post it. Okay. But you will get that video, and it will help you to understand where I'm coming from. But that was really a valid question. I love boxing. However, boxing for me is first and foremost a martial art that uses the fist to inflict blunt force trauma upon the body, generally from the torso up, all right, with the ultimate goal, the A side, being to shut down the control center of the human body, therefore getting rid of the threat if it's a life or death situation, street situation, or just getting rid of the challenge, like if it's in the ring or if it's in the cage. All right? So, Uma Fight Camp, Save Carmen. Train hard, train smart. And I'll see you.